everybody, it's Kim from Kim's Homestead in sunny Victoria. Back with you in the kitchen, and today we're going to be learning a couple of ways of preserving your sweet corn. Now, I went to Uncle Monkey's the other day, one of our greengrocers, and picked up a fairly good special on sweet corn. Unfortunately, I got a bit sick after that, not from eating the corn, but I couldn't get to it in time to make the best of what I had there. So now that I'm feeling a bit better, I thought I would come back and show you what I do with the corn. And it really doesn't matter if it's a bit old like this. Obviously the taste isn't going to be premium as what it was when I picked it up, but it's still going to be an edible product. So what I'm going to do is shuck the corn, which that means getting rid of all the outside and the little hairs. I picked up 3 bags. I've managed to nearly go through one. So, but the others aren't too bad, especially where they've still got half of the old corn husk on the outside. Some of the little ones have got a daub of mould on them, which that will be cut out. But mostly at the moment it's taking off the old manky bits and getting rid of the fine hairs. Then what I'm going to do is cut off the sweet corn themselves. They will be blanched and put into freezer bags in the freezer. But what I'm going to do after that is I'm going to bring you along and we're going to make some corn cob jelly out of the corn cobs. So if you're also picking up some specials on some corn cobs, why not make it last for as long as possible and use every part of the corn. The old husks that I've got taking off here and the hairs, I'm going to put that into my chook composter, you know, the one inside the pen, and the chooks will soon turn that into lovely compost for the garden. Then what I can do is not only have the sweet corn, but the corn cob jelly, the husks and fine hairs for compost for the garden, but you can also use the corn cobs themselves, dry them out thoroughly, and there's 2 ways you can use them. When you're putting in a new plant in your garden, a tree or plant or anything like that, with the really dried out old corn cobs, they will actually, you put them down in the hole with the plant or your young tree. What they will do, is not only help feed your plant eventually by breaking down the corn cob, but also they will actually supplement as a water storage area, so giving your plant easy access to water, because the corn cob will soak up a lot of all that moisture that's around the root ball of the plant, and it will store water for your plant. So when the ground starts drying out, those corn husks are going to be still damp or wet inside, depending on how much rain or water it's had. So, and that way it makes it water accessible to your plant when they need it. Not only water but food as well, as I said. And you can use every single part of the corn cob. I mean, you've paid good money for it, so why put it in the rubbish and dispose of it off your property when all of it can be used in your garden? Anyway, so what I will do is I'll finish dehusking this corn, and then I'll bring you back when I'm ready to start cutting it off of the corn cobs. We'll go to the next step. Right, we have them all done and they've been thoroughly washed and scrubbed. Now I have here an old microwave bundt pan which I'm going to use in taking the corn kernels off. So starting from the top, all I do is run the knife down the edge and just cut the corn off. Just using a sharp knife. Just take it easy, otherwise you could slice and dice yourself. There we go, first one's done. Does make a bit of a mess, so don't worry about it too much. All sweeps up or vacuums up. Now on the stove at the moment I have a large stock pot, about 1/2 to 3/4 full of water, and that is currently coming up to boil. This one here, see how it's all manky up the top and whatever else? Well, I don't want that in my water, so just cut that off into the compost. Same with the bottom, see how it's all a bit yuck? Same again, into the compost. The rest of it's perfectly fine. I try not to go too close to the corn stalk, otherwise you're going to get large corn pieces like stalk in your corn. That's not what you want. So I think you get the general idea there, and I'll come back to you with the next step. So out of those cobs, this is what I've got left, and I've got it just in a chip frying basket so that I can easily get it in and out of the hot water. The water's come to boil, so normally in blanching corn I would add just a little bit of salt to the water, but I'm not going to do this as I'm going to be making a jelly from the cobs. So this will be dunked into the water and boiled for approximately 2 minutes. Then I'll let it cool, like I'll pop it in cold water and let it cool down for, well, till it's cold. Then all I'll do is bag it up and put it in the freezer. Now that can be turned into pretty much anything. You can either just cook it like that, bit of butter, bit of salt, and you've got a side dish. Or what I will probably do with most of this year, I've got quite a lot of chicken carcasses down in the freezer in the shed which I need to do something with. So I may be making a few chicken and corn soups. I like a lot of soup during winter time, and that'll be a good dump and go meal. So chicken and corn soup, or I may even do some cream corn and have that put away in the cupboard as well. So that's what I'll be doing with this. So this is about to go into the hot water. Then when this is done, I'll be keeping that water. You know me, don't chuck nothing away. Now that's when these corn cobs will go into the water, and they will be boiled for approximately 20 to 30 minutes. Then all I do is turn it off. These will go into the compost then, and as I said, they can either go into the compost or be dried out. They can be used as fire starters, or when you're planting new plants, put them in the hole and use them as a water wick for your plants, and as a feed supplement as well. Or put them in with your worms. The worms will soon eat them out as well, so there's a few ways you can get rid of them that way. So this goes in the hot water bath. Okay, so the corn has been in for at least 3 minutes. Done. Right, and now all I will do is pop it into a sink full of cold water. In the meantime, here is our corn cobs. They will go straight in the water here, and I will boil these for between 20 to 30 minutes. Should be plenty enough to get all the goodness out of these cobs, and then we'll strain the water. Right, I'll just push them down in there like that. I'll put the lid on and let them boil. Well, here we are at our next step, and what we have here is all the corn cobs that have now been boiled up, and they're ready to go out to the chooks. They will feed the chooks. They'll be really happy with these ones. There's a fair bit of corn and corn mush in there, and then when they're all finished and dried out, they can go into a planting hole for one of my plants. So that can go into the chook bin. This here is all the bits, the dregs, the chaff that's come off. There's bits of brown corn pieces there that I've taken out, and that will also go into the chooks, and they'll be really happy for that. What I've done is I've strained out the corn water that I boiled the cobs in. Now this recipe calls for 4 cups of corn water and 4 cups of sugar, so it's an equal mix, and to that I will add 1 3/4 ounces of pectin. Now I have the required amount of pectin here. I also have a little bit of my own pectin from when I processed the oranges and the lemons and mandarins and all of that. So what I've actually taken it up to is 2 ounces of pectin, because I do find that this jelly is a very soft jelly and I like something just a little firmer. I've now cleaned out the big stock pot, and that's what I'll be putting it all back into and back on the stove. So it's all been washed and scrubbed and ready to go. So what I will do is measure out 8 cups of water. Put that over there. That's 1. It was a bit full. Two. 3. 4. Now I'm actually going to be doing a double batch. 5. 6. 7. 8. Look at that. 8. Perfect. I do have a little bit more left over here, and that will actually go in the freezer for another lot. Either that or I'll make up another batch later on. So now I have to get the sugar and weigh out 8 cups of sugar. There's one. Two. Three. Four. Five. Six. Now I'm going to keep the last 2 cupfuls back. That will go in a separate jug because that is what I'm going to mix the petkin into. So we want 2 cupfuls. And look at that, perfect amount. Now I will have to measure out another lot of pectin to go into this sugar because I only weighed up enough for 1 batch and I'm making it a double batch. Now this will be made up mainly of my own petkin because unfortunately, even though I do have some commercial pectin, most of it is no longer available in Australia unless you're buying like 50 grams at a time. Okay, sorry about that. So now all I'm going to do is mix this petkin and sugar together. Mix it in thoroughly, make sure there's no lumps. Do for now. Right, now what I will do is give this a good stir the sugar off the bottom. Now all I will do is put this on the stove and let it come up to, well, pretty much let it come up to just before a rolling boil before I add the petkin and sugar. So this is now going on the stove top at a medium to high heat, and I'll be back with the next step when I've got it there. So here we have it, coming up just to a boil now, and I'm just going to be stirring it. Now see how the boil goes away? That is not yet a rolling boil. A rolling boil is when you can no longer boil, like make it even out after you've stirred it. It's still rolling. It's not far away. It's actually hot enough to start putting the extra sugar and the petkin in now. So, in that goes. Now you'll probably find it foaming a little bit. That's fine. Foam really doesn't worry me at all. If you don't like the foam and you want a smoother mixture, just add a little bit of butter to it and it will even out and stop foaming. If you want a much clearer mixture, then you'll probably have to use the commercially available pectin, but because here in Australia we find petkin pretty much impossible to get, especially in the country areas, and we resorted to making our own, you're not going to get the really clear jelly-like consistency that you would get with a commercial product. But here we go. We're starting to, this is a rolling boil, and see how I can't even it out even though I'm stirring the mixture. Now if I don't stir it quite well, I'll find that it will actually boil the mixture over. So you should stir constantly at this point for at least between 1 to 3 minutes. I probably could get a much clearer mixture if at this point I wanted to, once the jam was done, I wanted to pour it through a straining cloth or a muslin cloth or whatever you like to call it. Strain out the impurities, you would get a much clearer gel. But honestly, it doesn't worry me. My crumpets in the morning or my waffles won't really care. Now it's not sheeting yet. Sheeting is when you lift up your spoon and it's all running together. It's not far off. There we go. But it's not far off, but it's very, very, very close. There we go. See how that drop is sitting there? I could probably turn this off now, which yeah, I'll probably turn it off now. I actually like mine to cool down just a little bit before I start jarring it up, because normally I like to run my jars through the dishwasher first before I jar them up, but I've had too many interruptions today and the sun's going down on my solar system, so I won't be able to do this for a little bit yet. And I will probably water bath this for 15 minutes tomorrow before putting them away. Well, here we are, folks, at the very last of our little journey into canning sweet corn. Sorry, but it's actually been a few days, probably about 3 or 4 days. So you can put your project on hold if need be. I just heated it up again, ready for bottling today. I had a house full of visitors and whatnot, being Christmas time, and it was inconvenient to film at that time, so I just put this little project aside, and now I'm ready to get back into it. So I've just boiled the kettle. The water was boiled. Oh, no, I didn't. So what I will do is boil the kettle. Now the equipment that I've got here, obviously your pot of jam, which I've just reheated. I have a bowl full of tops with a little bit of white vinegar in it. some spare rings for some jars that I've got, my magnetic lifter. This is just one of those telescopic mechanics lifter, you know, mechanics use them when they drop something through the engine. So rather than pay out for something that I don't need. Then I've got a clean paper towel for wiping down the lids, some clean assorted jars of all different descriptions. Some of these I'll probably give away, and some white vinegar. Jug for pouring, and a funnel to go into the jars. Now those canning funnels won't fit into a lot of these jars, so what I've done is just cut the top off a plastic milk bottle, and that's going to be my funnel. And as soon as the kettle's pretty much boiled, I'll pour the hot water in with the jar lids, and we'll get started canning it up. On the stove I also have a large pot of water coming up to the boil. I won't boil it, I'll just mainly make it reasonably warm, around about the same level of heat as the jelly. And that way you don't get jar shock. So, there's our hot water in our bowl full, and with a little bit of white vinegar. So, I think we'll start on these nice fancy jars. And we just pour it in slowly. Now, being a complete liquid, I don't have to debubble. And all I'm doing is filling it up to 1/4 inch from the top. So I've got a couple of jars done there. all I do is pop a little bit of vinegar on the paper towel. That will help just cut through any stickiness because of all the sugar. It's a very highly sugared jelly. Run it around the top. And just be careful because this is quite hot, being mostly sugar. Now with my Cobb jelly, I usually put just a couple of drops of yellow vegetable food dye in it. You can leave it out, that's your choice, but I like the colour. It makes it more inviting when you go to eat it. Otherwise it's just a very bland, almost clear liquid. This is gelling up really good. So this is what we have for the water bath canner. They will go in and they will be processed for about 15 minutes. Once the water comes up to a rolling boil, then I'll start the timer for 15 minutes and then I will just take the lid off, or turn it off, take the lid off, let it sit for another 5 minutes. Then I'll pull each one out and put it onto a towel on the surface there beside the stove, and they'll be good to go tomorrow into my pantry. All I have to do then is date it, label it, and put it in the pantry and enjoy it later on. So it's very, very easy to make such a delicious condiment out of old corn cobs, something that you've already purchased. And you may as well use all of it and enjoy all of the corn. So take advantage of those specials when you come across them. There's so much you can do with them, and there's very, very, very little that you throw out. And fill your pantry with scraps. It's so easy to do. And here we go, guys. We have 9 beautiful jars of corn cob jelly, and there's also another one in the fridge that I've been having on my crumpets in the morning and is almost gone. Really, really nice. such a special treat. So why not make some out of your old corn cobs as well? You won't be sorry. Well, that's it for now, guys, and if you like my videos, please consider giving me a thumbs up, and if you like the content that I bring you, consider subscribing. Alright, that's it for now. Thanks, guys. Bye.